Hey, what's up? It's Jay, and today I'm doing another face thing. I think I like these more. Um, this is before I even start talking. Um, this is kind of just gonna be like a rant kind of thing because I noticed that like when I just kind of talk things out, I've said this on the podcast too. Um, when I just talk things out, whether it just be to myself in front of a camera or whatever, or just recording myself on my phone to be uploaded to YouTube, it just helps me think about things. And because I aged out of foster care, I don't have a therapist anymore. I could have had a therapist, but it just would have been too much because I already have so much stuff going on right now. So this is going to be my therapy, just like my therapy sessions. Um, so one of the things that I wanted to talk about today was I just want to talk about like who I am, well, more because I don't really know, and I just feel like maybe if I talk about things around that subject, maybe it'd help me connect the dots more. Um, so this isn't going to be exactly like talking about maladaptive daydreaming. It's just going to kind of be me rambling, and I'll probably touch on a couple things in there too. Um, so yeah, I'm 18 now. So that's one thing that I am. I am living with my aunt and her husband in this wonderful freaking house, and just city, and everything over here is so much nicer than Fort Lauderdale, Broward County. No offense if you're from Broward County, but if you've ever been down there, like whenever you see those like Florida man, whatever, like it's everybody's like, oh, it always happens in Florida. No, it always happens in Broward County or Miami. It's always one of those two. I mean, sometimes it could be from other places, but most of the shit happens. I mean, here we got alligators in our fucking backyard. I posted like this story on Instagram because I was riding my bike to my aunt's job, and he was just there chilling, just alligators in the neighborhood. Nobody really cares unless it's over 4 feet. If it's over 4 feet, then the alligator has to go. Um, but if it's under 4 feet, you can't do anything about it. I don't know how big that one was because I was staying my ass far away, but uh, still creepy, but not as bad as the flocka heads that are in Broward County. Yeah, those are crazy. Um, and that's one of the reasons why I don't like if I see somebody, who's homeless and they need money. I mean, I'd rather give them food or something than actual like cash. Um, because well, a lot of times, you'll hear it from other people that most of the time it goes towards drugs. I know that for a fact, not for like every single homeless person, because some people, just may need money and that's, for whatever. But before I was in foster care, me and my father, my late father, I'm going to his funeral uh, this coming Monday. We're gonna go to New York and yeah. But when I was living with him when I was a lot younger, like 12 and below, we were homeless. And we what used to live like I've seen some crazy shit. Like we were living from hotel to possibly somebody's, room, a friend that he makes friend. And the last place that we lived, we even lived in a storage unit for a short amount of time. Like we would go in, like we're just gonna get something from the storage, and then we'd hide in there and close the storage, but not all the way, because then we'd be stuck in there. Um, and we just kind of slept, yeah, in a storage unit. And it was really hot, and I could never use the bathroom because there were no bathrooms. Like maybe once a day. And but the last place we lived in, I'm getting off topic. But the last place we lived in, before I was taken by CPS, or if you live in Florida, DCF, um, it was this crack house, and we were living with, yeah, I remember our friend Bill, our dog, who's now a service dog, Marley, golden retriever, amazing dog, friend Bill, then this crazy fucking couple, Chris and Erica. Oh, I hated them. They're one of the reasons I have like so much anxiety, PTSD, whatever, because I could never sleep. Like, I didn't have a room, obviously, so I either slept in the bathroom or on the couch. And every night they fought. I have a YouTube video out there. I still have it, but on my other channel, and all the videos are private. You'll probably never find it. Hopefully it's nobody took it, but it's just me, like, I'm 12 and I'm like, hey guys, it's me, Jazzy Lee, because that was what my YouTube videos used to be like. I would literally, maybe, if you watch the PewDiePie cover song in my other videos, I show a couple clips from when I showed a couple clips from my old YouTube account, and it's like, I can't believe that was me. But I had another video where I was just apologizing for deleting old videos, and I actually was lying because uh, I said, "Oh, I don't know what happened to them. They just disappeared from YouTube." I deleted them because my dad told me to delete them or he'd beat my ass. So, but I didn't say it. But I'm like trying to record this video, and all you hear in the background is, "You fucker!" Bang, bang! I want to kill myself, and I'm just there like, So these videos got deleted. Obviously, that video is now private, but and that was a trip. But I'm getting off topic. ADHD. Um, but basically, in that house, we had this whole like cardboard. Uh, it was like a box, and inside the box were like dozens of cardboard signs, all saying different things. Ex-veteran needs money. Single mom needs to feed kids. Cancer. I have cancer. I need money to pay for therapy. A whole fucking box of just random card signs. And my dad, who was a drug dealer, we lived in that house, and when his clients would come in to buy from him and they needed more money, they came in, went to the box, picked out a cardboard sign, went out, got money, came back, put the cardboard sign back, and bought drugs from my dad. And that is why it's hard to trust somebody who's like, you know, not, I can't trust homeless people. That's not what I'm saying, but you really don't know where the money's going. Um, that was just crazy, like thinking back on that. When I was, after I got put into foster care, I started moving from home to home to home, and I ended up in this one group home, and in Fort Lauderdale, horrible, horrible group home. They did not care about what you did. You could bring drugs in the house, whatever. It was like I was back with my father. And I started doing drugs, and I started hanging out, getting into very dangerous situations. Um, and I used to hang out because I'm so horrible at making friends my age. Because apparently, it's not that I can't make friends my age, it's just that in that environment, like I don't make friends with really ghetto ass people. We just don't have the same interests, we don't have the same music tastes, whatever, you know. And but the really chill people, because everybody's always on that fighting drama, whatever. The homeless people really chill, so I would just hang out with all the homeless people, which probably was not a good idea in hindsight. There was times I almost seriously got hurt. But after I started doing like all these drugs and stuff, I completely lost who I was, or I realized how lost I've been my whole life because anywhere I go, I just blend into my surroundings. If I'm in a really Christian home and I'm going to church 2 times a week, I am a straight Christian young woman who wants. I used to preach, bro. Like, thinking about that now, like, I used to actually preach sermons, and I lived with, there was this pastor and his wife, and they were going to adopt me. It didn't work out, which was probably for the best. But after that, because I was in my first home, right, and amazing, the best foster home I've ever went to was the first foster home that I got placed in, with these two parents, and they were super amazing, and they taught me what family was. And then this pastor and his wife wanted to adopt me, so I left that home to go with them. Things didn't work out. They were moving. They really were too young to be adopting a teenager. They were both in their early 20s, and they weren't ready for a kid. And I had to go back. Um, I went back to the same home, but the foster parents that were in that house retired. So I went back to the house, but there was a different house parent in there. There was a different foster parent. And after like starting in that home was when I really started going downhill. I like started cutting more. I started cutting myself when I was like 11. Um, I'm gonna put a trigger warning in the description. And then yeah, and then after that, I started getting Baker acted. If you don't know what that means, it means admitted to a mental hospital, which uh, it's usually only for a week or something. It's not a psychiatric ward. That's a lot different. I remember the first time I got Baker acted, which is actually a story for another day. But basically, I went in. I'm not going to talk about the story when I got Baker acted because that's the last time that I lived with my father, and it's a whole entire story that I just cannot fit in here. Jesus Christ, we're already at like 13 minutes. And basically, I went in and I thought like it was going to be like the movies. It's going to be a psychiatric ward, which is not what it was. And so I started getting ready, trying to make myself look all crazy and shit. This is when I was 12. So I would blend in or whatever, because that's all I do is blend into whoever I'm around, which is why now I don't want any sort of friends or communication with anybody because I want to figure out who I am before I start making a group of friends. Because as soon as I make a group of friends, I know I'm just going to try and blend in with whatever personalities they are, and I will never think about who I am as a person. But back to the other story, I went in and uh, nobody was crazy. Nobody was like insane or that mentally unstable. 9 out of 10 of all the people who were there, just kids who their parents caught them like doing a Xan or smoking weed, and they called the police. Uh, and they're just like, I don't know why I'm here. And I'm like, oh, this isn't like the movies. So, yeah. Uh, I don't know what to talk about anymore. But, I mean, I have so many stories, man. But I don't do drugs anymore, obviously. And I used to do some crazy drugs. I mean, some bad stuff. And one thing that was really hard uh, for me was like I guess trying to quit, but I ended up being forced to go to rehab. I went to, it wasn't really a rehab, but it was like a, a rehabilitation and residential program, which is like a program that takes like 6 months. And basically, I don't know how to explain it. You get put into this program, which is like some kids go to jail, some kids have a last chance and go to a program to get better. If they don't get better, then they go to jail. That was me because I was positive for crack cocaine. And when my judge found out, who cares about me very deeply, love you, Judge Gillespie, um, he was like, "Oh, you are going to go to a program, or I'm going to send you to juvie." It was only because he wanted best for me because he'd been my judge ever since I was 12. Um, and I was like, "I'll go to the program," like fucking doped out idiot I was. Um, and so basically, you go into this program, and there's 5 levels that you have to complete over the course of 6 to 8 months. You can't leave, you can't have a phone, you can't have any sort of access to the internet. You're in a home with, if you're a boy, you go to a unit with, it can it's usually from like 12 to maybe 24 boys. If you're a girl, 12 to 24 girls. And you have a room, you have up to 7 pairs of clothes, and they tell you when to eat, when to get up, when to sleep. Sometimes they won't let you take a nap. You can only watch the TV shows that are approved. You can never watch the news. Um, and literally your whole life is just in these walls. And then after months of being there, you may, if you're on the right level, you may be allowed to go on an outing. I remember I had court I had to go to, and I wasn't on that level yet. I think I was like still level 1 or 2, and they put me in shackles and handcuffs, and I had to go into court like that, and people just looked at me like I was crazy, and I'm like, I ain't crazy, bitch. No, but it was really embarrassing. I remember there was this one time I had to go to court in shackles, and I was in the elevator, and I was just, because I'm just so awkward, and I never know what to do, and like everybody was just kind of like, and I'm just like, and I remember the doctor who kind of ran the entire program was like, "We're sorry we have to do this. You don't need to be in shackles, but it's the rules." And I'm like, "It's okay. It's just gonna be embarrassing." And then I'm in this elevator, and then I'm in a room with strangers as we're going up, and I was like in shackles, and I was just like awkward, and then I started laughing because every time I get nervous or I get scared, I just kind of smile or I laugh, and then everybody was like, "This bitch is crazy," and I'm like, "I'm not crazy, I'm not crazy," which makes you look more crazy. And I'm still working on that because whenever, like, I remember when I got the news that my father died, I was just like, because I didn't know how to react. My aunt took it so much harder than I did because obviously they knew each other a lot longer than I knew my father, and I didn't really even know him. He used to be, a really really great guy, from what I hear. But he started doing drugs, and he just turned into somebody else, somebody who my mom, my grandma, anybody in my family, my aunt, will say they don't know who he was when he died because that wasn't the person that they remembered. And I kind of wish I could have met that other version of him. I wish I could have known who that guy was because all I knew was a drug addict. And I know he cared for me, and he tried really hard. Um, but addiction is a very scary thing, and I'm glad that I got out of it when I could, because I would have been very it's very scary now to me, now that I have, my life in order. I can think more clearly, even though I'm stupid half of the time. But I can't imagine the path I would have went down if I kept doing what I was doing in that group home. And I wish that group home would get shut down because, first of all, it's in a horrible neighborhood. Like, the neighborhood it's in, everybody calls that house the group home for girls. They call it the hoe house or the prostitute house. And when I got into that home, the minute I left the doors, guys would circle around the house and they come up to me and be like, "Hey, you on that? You on that?" I'm like, "On what?" And they're like, what they meant, if you don't know, is they meant if I was on that, they basically meant, do you fuck for money or drugs? I'll smoke you out and we can go. That's what they meant. And at first I was like, no, and I didn't. But the more I did drugs, the more I got closer to being on that. There was a lot of situations where I almost got, trigger warning again. I almost got, raped, gang raped, or, killed. And oh my God, I remember this one fucking idiot. She stole drugs from somebody and she was my roommate. And then him and his whole gang were like riding around circling the house looking for her. And I didn't even know. I was with one of my friends and I was with her, my roommate, right? And then at the end, she's like, oh shit, because we went out. It was like 3 in the morning and we were coming back to the group home. And then she's like, shit. And we're looking at her like, what? Why is so and so around going around the house? What the fuck did you do? Because we knew that guy was like crazy. And she goes, I like stole drugs. And we're like, what? And then we hid behind a car and we were like, fuck, we are going to die. They are going to shoot us and we're going to fucking die because I'm with her. What the fuck? Right? So we made her go first. I was just, I'm very quiet. So my girl will call her Mary. Mary and my roommate. Mary is like more like she's ghetto and like, about that shit and she's whatever. So she was like, bitch, your ass is going to the fucking group home first, because if we go there and I get shot, bitch, you're gonna die. Whatever. And I'm just there like she looked at me and I'm like, I'm not saying shit. I'm not saying shit. I'm just here. I don't want to die. And if she says that, that's what goes. I'm not arguing with her because I didn't want her to beat my ass. Shit. Um, so the guys ended up leaving, and then she went to the house first, and then like 15 or 20 minutes later, we followed and went to the house. But dude, that was really scary. And I am talking for 23 minutes, and I'm sure nobody wants to listen this far. But haven't accomplished my mission of finding out who I am. I just started telling stories, but maybe this can be like a series or something. I have like a whole bunch of things I don't need, but I'd like to talk about. And I need, my, like I said before, I'm immensely afraid of dying without people knowing me, without me even leaving a mark on the world, even though I don't know who me is. But hopefully I live long enough to do a whole bunch of these. So that way, maybe one day one person will watch these and be like, oh shit, she was interested. And I'll be like, oh, bitch. People are looking outside. Why are you outside my window? Ugh. Okay, bye.